Arsenal win back possession, and it's broken nicely to Cazorla, 30 metres from goal, plays it to the edge of the area. Alexis Sanchez goes for goal and scores. That's a brilliant goal from Alexis Sanchez. He's been Arsenal's star man this season, and maybe now they're going to get the right.
Fresh new kicks and pants, you got it. Like it when you know you want to dance, Mike. I've been dancing today. Nice
Sweet
stoppage time win. I see you're wearing your Arsenal yarmulke.
That's right. Happy Rosh Hashanah to everybody that celebrates. It's our first annual Rosh Hashanah spectacular.
Happy Rosh Hashanah, Mike.
Thank you, my friend.
You're
it's a
welcome.
new year, but I hope that the end of the old year continues for the Arsenal.
Hey, and let's thank MC Hammer for those beautiful lyrics that brought the show to start.
We actually licensed them from him for $10, and it was so now he owns officially $11.
He owns $11, and then
did he go bankrupt?
Yes, I also had to give him a pair of pants.
Sweet. Well, I mean, two games this week, two completely easy wins, huh?
Yeah. Before we get to our game review, let's roll into our question of the day, or question of the pod. I don't know why I'm saying question of the day.
Well, because we're having our pod during a day, so
a day,
day
by day. So, question of the week: what is your biggest Arsenal-related superstition?
Am I going first?
You are going first.
All right, I have a bunch of them, and we've been talking about these a little bit on Facebook groups and stuff this week. But I guess the biggest one that persists is that I only will wash my jersey after a loss, which officially makes me disgusting. But I won't wash it if we get anything out of the game, basically until the next time we lose. So I mean. I wasn't really into the Arsenal and the Invincible season, but had I been, I probably would have been divorced by now, because that is one stinky shirt that you would have gotten. But I do remember there was a season, maybe like around 07, 08, 09, somewhere in there, where we went pretty much like 3.5, 4 months without a loss, and I mean, my jersey absolutely reeked at that point. But the problem with that superstition, though, is that on Wednesday I woke up, tried to find my jersey for the Basel game, and there it was hanging in the laundry room, freshly cleaned and washed by my lovely wife, and got a little nervous. I have to be honest with you.
You need to get her updated on the superstition.
Yeah, I think she knows about it. She just doesn't like when I reek. So
maybe that's a hint then.
But she's off the hook though, because we obviously took care of business.
Yeah.
How about you?
I don't really have any particular superstition like that, where it's like not to wash a pair of shirts or wear the same underwear or whatever. Some people do, but for me, the one thing I do is I try and wear something Arsenal related on match day, and I'm lucky that I work at a job where clothing
is optional.
Clothing is optional. No, if I can wear pretty much whatever I want into the office, and so often I'll wear something Arsenal related. It's funny, my boss said to me the other day, how many articles of clothing do you have with that crest on it? And so I was curious, and I counted, and I could get 32 days of just things. The bigger
question is, how many articles do you have without that on it?
Well, exactly.
I count that on one hand, basically.
I found 32 days worth of clothing that I could wear. And that was not really going through like T-shirts. And so that might be a good question for our pod listeners is, how many days of clothing could you get through if you had to wear a different Arsenal piece of clothing each and every day? Because I bet there's people
we've seen some pretty impressive collections.
Oh, yeah. I bet there's people that buy every kit, all three of them, every year. And so I'm sure there's people that could extend. But that would be an awesome question. Let's put that out on Twitter and Facebook, and we'll share some of the responses next week.
Now, we're just talking shirts, of course. I mean, we're not looking for full kit wanker type of like how many shorts of Arsenal do you have? Because if you have one, that's probably one too many.
Yeah.
If you're like
it's got to be a shirt. It has to be something that covers your upper body. I don't want to, you can't count boxers because those are going to be covered up. But yeah, you know what? I play in a Monday night.
And if you don't watch those, then forget about it.
I play in a Monday night co-ed league, and a kid took me out. I went up for a 50-50 ball as the keeper. He took me out, landed on my neck, which my wife got really nervous about. She yelled at the guy, and she called him a full kit wanker because he was wearing a full Tottenham kit wanker. And
he's just a full wanker.
Yeah, no, but she's like, you are a full kit wanker, and Tottenham suck. And then the guy didn't know how to respond. Like, he was like just shocked.
This was your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a keeper.
She's a keeper. Yeah. Speaking of games, let's go to Basel.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind going to Basel.
Let's go to Basel. Are we just going to hand Theo the Ballon d'Or right now, or what's happening?
The Ballon d'Or. We're gonna. What else are we thinking about calling it?
I think you text me Ballon de Oh my God.
Ballon de OMG.
Yep. Or was it Ballon? How do you even pronounce it? Is it Ballon or Ballion?
I think it's Ballon.
Ballon de sucks a bag of dick. Like, where does he fall?
Because he's still Theo. How about Ballon de let's just enjoy this while it lasts? I mean, I'm in your camp pretty much that it would take a whole season for him to earn the $140K a week that he's – I mean, a whole season of these performances. But he does – pre this game today, which we'll talk about a little bit later, it does seem to be getting a little bit better and better every game.
Absolutely. And in the game today, there was some moments of confidence that Theo of last year would not have taken, shots or movements. But, I'm in Milwaukee where I went to college and met some very close friends who are Arsenal supporters. So I met one for the match this morning, and he says to me, hey, who's number 14? Like, this guy turned out to be pretty decent. Like, who is this guy? And I said to him,
who's the guy with the muscles and the facial hair?
Yeah, he's like, who is this 14? So yeah, let's jump right in. I mean, Theo's goal. We talked about it last week, him drifting centrally, and he did it again. I think there's a great understanding between him and Alexis, and may it long continue.
Yeah, I don't mind if he drifts centrally as long as he drifts back to the wing and drifts back on D like he's been doing so far. I mean, he can drift wherever he pretty much wants as long as he's got those areas covered.
No, absolutely. For me, I feel like Theo looks like he's renewed himself and he has maybe a different respect or love or vigor for the game. But, personally for me, it looks like maybe a fan this summer told him to his face that he sucked, and after reflection, he thought I should step up my game because that individual is right. I do suck.
Whoever that was should probably start a podcast or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it did take a month for the comments to fully sink in, but
But no, as you said, I mean, the guy looks like he's bulked up. He didn't make that England squad for the Euros, which obviously was a big kick in the balls. And then towards the end of the transfer window, we start seeing the Mahrez rumors, and they're gaining a little bit of traction, at least within the media. So the perception from him is, holy shit, maybe I am going to get pushed out. And maybe this was all for him and for the better of him to say, I need to step it up, and this is the year. And maybe that's why we're seeing such a different Theo.
I'm seeing a love story forming right now between Theo and you against all odds. So, but speaking of love stories, what you think? Do you like the understanding between him and Alexis? Do you think they're playing well off of each other in their current positions?
I definitely do. I think their speed, the two of them respect each other's speed, and they have such good movement, and I think that they do play well off of each other. I saw I think someone put up an Opta or Squawker picture with a stat, and it was relating to the games they've played together and how many goals and assists the two of them have supplied with one another, and so I'll have to look and find that. But I do like the two of them together. I think that Theo is better with Alexis
than he would be with Giroud.
Than he would be with Giroud, for sure.
I think it's pretty easy to have an understanding with Alexis. I mean, when it comes right down to it, I mean, I have an understanding with Alexis. See, here's how it goes. He understands that if he keeps scoring goals, I'm going to change my pants during games again. Right. I mean, that's the understanding that we have. Theo, different understanding, but as long as it ends up in the goal, then all of a sudden, we see the two of them in their rightful positions. I've backed off of my Alexis up top, what the hell is going on saga, and I kind of like the way they work with each other.
Totally.
So you're flip-flopping.
No.
Planting the seeds. I can hear it.
That match was like almost a playground for Theo and a dog pile for Alexis, because it just seemed like the goalie had Alexis's number. I mean, that could have easily been 5 or 6, but their keeper made some incredible saves. And Alexis didn't. It just seemed like he didn't have that type of a night that we expect. And in the past, we see Giroud miss all those chances and no one steps up. And now it's great to see that Theo is going to step up. Yeah.
Let's hope. I caught the game at a new pub on Wednesday. A handful of us that live a little further out of D.C. in the suburbs, it's a little hard to make it downtown or even close to downtown on a weekday. So we had a new group of people at a pub, and I found myself leaping out of my bar stool onto the ground every time we were in on goal, and I must have hit the ground about 10, 12 times in that game, yet we only won 2-0. But I chalked that up to the keeper. He had a strong game.
He really did. It was also nice to get that early goal, or early-ish goal, because it just seemed like we hit the ground running, and it was never one of those matches like today where you thought, oh shit, this could end, this could all turn around. We just were in complete control, and it's nice to see the Xhaka and Cazorla partnership in the middle forming quite nicely as well.
Yeah, we're going to need to see that. By the way, in the Basel U19 match, do you want to hazard a guess as to who nicked the goal?
Dragomir.
Say it the way I say it. Come on.
Vladimir Dragomir. I don't know his name.
Vlad Dragomir. There we go.
Vladimir Dragomir
scored against Basel as well. So we'll be seeing him very, very soon in a EFL Cup game near you.
Near you.
Nowhere near you.
No, so, a 2-0 result, which is great, and that puts us top of the group. Far better than where we were this time last year. And we've got now 2 matches against Ludogorets, which, God forbid anything crazy happens there, we're at 10 points.
They've had their moments so far, but, it's not the type of team that I think – they're no Burnley. Let's put it that way.
Well, we'll get to Burnley in a minute, but to be fair, Burnley is going to be a tough place to play.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Think about it. We beat Ludogorets. We're at 10 points. We're pretty much then in the clear, hoping that Basel do something to PSG to derail them a little bit. And we're sitting pretty.
Yeah, this does kind of have the feel of a group that we can top for the first time in I don't know how many years, and of course we'll probably top the group, and Barcelona will finish second in their group, and there we go.
Yeah, probably Barcelona and or Bayern.
That's true. Well, yeah, that's true.
But
so Champions League, 2 down, 4 to go.
Absolutely. So we move on to today's fixture against Burnley. My first thoughts were Burnley took it to Liverpool, and it wasn't going to be an easy game, and they're the type of team that are going to sit 11 men behind the ball and just kind of wait for something to happen, and it was a pretty hard game. It looked like we were tired, but we got some luck in there too. Not just with the goal, but they had that one go off the crossbar. Czech made that beautiful save. This was just a tough game.
Little bit handbrake, little bit handball. That's what I'm calling this game officially. They just look like a team who was due for a night off, and obviously you want to say a team that's going to win the championship can't afford to be taking nights off, but it's easy to say now, knowing that we nicked the 3 points at the end. But I really did feel during the game that I wasn't going to overreact to this game because these guys are human. he's not really rotating the squad very much, which, you can't complain about that and be happy about that at the same time. Currently, I'm happy about that because we're winning. So, if those guys are run a little ragged and don't show up 100% for a game, it's going to happen. Barcelona lost today. Real Madrid tied today for I don't know how many times. Bayern, tied today. Dortmund lost. I mean, it's going to happen.
City
and
lost today.
Yeah, City lost today, which, but it was fine, and to come out of that game with 3 points, I mean, geez, talk about robbing a bank.
Seriously, and for me, watching the entire match, there was one player that stood out in the last 20 minutes for me more than anyone else. And it was Mustafi.
Yep. I was going to guess that.
Because, and I know that I've been a lover of him, but it seems like first and foremost, he and Kashani have just formed this great partnership. But Ozil kept coming back to grab those balls to put the crosses in, and Mustafi just was kind of giving him the, go fuck off, I've got this. And he was pumping those balls forward. He was pushing the defense up. And he was kind of willing this team to continue to push forward, and he was just that leader and that voice that we've just been missing.
Mustafi had such a good game today. I mean, not only was he probably the best player in the pitch, but he was the only one who had sex with the referee.
That's true. I
mean, I'm pretty sure. There were some points in the game that I wasn't able to watch because I was driving, but I mean, I'm pretty sure he was the only one that received anal from the ref.
No, he was the only one.
So I mean, that's a hell of a game.
Yeah, and you'll cover that more on your individual podcast. What's the name of that?
Where we take a look at the finer moments of the game, like Jason Punchin walking off the field to take a dump, and players who back their rear ends into, start bumping and grinding with referees. I mean, this is a whole separate podcast. We're waiting on that one.
But this is just that typical game where everyone says that if you're going to win or seriously challenge for a title, you need to win these matches. And
definitely.
And we got the 3 points. Whether or not it's controversial, we got the 3 points. What we lacked last year was a person that would push this team forward and would be that voice or just be that character on the field. And I feel like the combination of Mustafi, Xhaka, you could even see it from Ozil, just willing this team to want to get that goal. It's not like any of them stopped. They just kept fighting for it. And I kept saying to my friend, if one goes in, 10 are going to go in. And we didn't get the chance for that because the clock stopped. But I just feel like there's just something about this team. There's a buzz, there's an aura that hopefully carries it, and we do continue this good run of form.
Well, the games that we're winning this year are games that we would have dropped points in any of the last umpteen years. I mean, that's the difference. Anyone, the games that we're getting fortunate refereeing decisions, again, like we may have today, like we may have against Southampton, like we definitely did against Leicester, those games are lost last year, and we're getting points out of them or wins out of them this year. So something's happening. But speaking of something happening, I know you were busy today, but did you hear about the cows?
No.
You did not hear about the cows?
I did not.
On the way up to the game, there was a train from London carrying hundreds of Arsenal supporters, and I guess other people as well. And it broke down and had to head back to London because it hit like a dozen cows, or more than a dozen cows. And the reports were that there were like pieces of cow and just that it smelled and was gross, and then I don't know why it had to turn back, but there were people on that train, including I think the guy that tweets is Stilberto, that hadn't missed a game in 15 years, and this is why he missed his first game.
Oh, that's terrible.
There's 11 dead and 50. They say it like it's like a horrible, and I recognize that animals are important, but 11 dead, 15 missing. Like 15 missing. How does a cow go missing from a situation like that?
Seriously, and
they're hiding out for their safety, and
yeah, like how
they
does 15? Yeah, let's just presume that they're all dead.
Yeah, well, probably. But look, on the brighter side, though, Arsenal is now undefeated in games where double-digit cows are hit by trains.
That's know
So,
what? If we have to
sorry, Chris.
sacrifice double-digit cows to win a title, would you do it?
Let me just go on record for my friends at PETA to say that I will not be sacrificing any cows. But if they happen to already have been hit by a train, then there's nothing I can do about that. So,
Okay, fair enough.
sorry, cows. Sorry,
fair
cows.
enough. So, again,
how about the goal? Let's talk about the goal.
No, absolutely. I was going to go back to Theo, Ballon d'Or winner 2017. But we can go to the goal. Do you feel like it was a handball?
Well, it certainly wasn't an intentional handball. First of all, I might be stating the obvious, but the ball came off of Chambo's foot, did it not? I've heard all sorts of things. I've looked at it as carefully as I can.
Mr. July,
yeah, Mr. July. I had just posted or tweeted a picture of Chambo. I've been posting pictures, kind of memes that I've made all day, and I posted a picture of Chambo talking about how he only scores in July with about 10 minutes left in the game as a reverse jink, and it kind of worked. They haven't credited him with the goal. I guess it's almost like an Iwobi Alexis situation from a few games ago. But if you look carefully at that shot from Chambo, that shot was headed about 10 feet over the crossbar if it had continued. It was just horrible. He was going to miss that shot if it didn't bundle into Koscielny and hit him. So Koss, saved his ass because that would have been the end of Chambo's confidence.
I feel like you have a vendetta against the Ox, and
I love the Ox.
I feel like
although why would I have a vendetta against the Ox? Can you think of a reason? It goes back to San Jose this summer.
Yeah, I think because you guys lost that trivia game together because he didn't know any of the movie quotes and he kept handing you the microphone.
Exactly. And, I enjoyed my time with him that day, but, he showed me he might not be a winner.
You know what, though? To be fair, I met him about 5 to 10 minutes after that meet and greet and had a wonderful conversation. And what was really great about it is that he seemed very interested to talk to me. And a lot of these guys probably think...
Well, he was in California. He was probably working on his acting chops.
Most of these guys probably meet fans and just hurry up, sign, take a picture. But we actually had a nice 3 to 5 minute conversation, which in my mind lasted 20 minutes. But anyway,
he's actually my favorite Arsenal player, and I wish and root for him to basically have the kind of season that Theo's having and iron his way into the starting lineup. I love the kid. He's hilarious. He seems to be genuinely really good-hearted and really into doing well for Arsenal. It's just after July ends, it's just not happening for him.
He'll get there. He'll get there. Now, I didn't see what you were just saying about the shot going incredibly wide.
It was going high. He skied it.
My perspective it was threefold. Can you call a handball if one of your teammates kicks it into the other teammate's hand? I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. I didn't think that Koscielny had no clue what was happening. He was falling backwards. His body was all distorted. The ball looked like it had already kind of started to trickle over the line. And then in real time, there's no way the ref could have seen that. So I don't want to hear this Burnley bullshit of, we got unlucky, because there were one or two other instances throughout the game where you're thinking that's a blatant handball if I've ever seen it, and they weren't called.
Oh, we would have been bitching if that happened to us, though, today. Just bitching. First of all, the ball was not anywhere near over the line when it hit his elbow. Just to make it clear, it was. The Chambo kicks it. It's going high. It's going over the bar until it hits Chambo's elbow, falls to the ground, and hits Koscielny's elbow, falls to the ground, and Koscielny kind of bungles it over the line. But I don't care what body part it hits. Elbow, nose, shoulder, vagina, esophagus. It doesn't matter as long as it goes in the line and the ref doesn't call it back. So it counts. It totally counts.
Yeah, no, it totally counts. And let's go to the confidence of Theo in this match. So he was making some plays, and he was being very aggressive, getting that ball forward. He was making some runs at the defense. But the one moment that stuck out for me was he received the ball on top of the 18, turned, and put a good shot on goal. And I feel like in any other season, that would have either reached row Z or would have been a throw-in.
Yep. And it kind of curled just a little bit wide.
It was a beautiful shot. It was a quick turn in on goal. And so you can tell that he's been doing some extra training on his shooting because, let's be honest, most of his shots end up with a throw anyway. So it's just great to see the confidence that's boiling over for the future of Ballon to oh my God.
But do you know who did not have a great game today?
Iwobi looked like he was terrible. Ozil looked like he was terrible. Cazorla looked like he was terrible.
The cows had a better day than Mesut Ozil did today. I mean, I've never seen him so poor. Yes, rest in peace. I'm sorry. I mean, something was up with him today. And again, like I said with the other players, I mean, you're bound to have an off day every once in a while. You're allowed. He's been so magnificent this season so far for the majority of the season that again, and we got away with it. So I'm not gonna challenge it too much. But he just looked. Did you see that article after the Chelsea game about him and his wife leaving a nightclub and his wife was crying and maybe there's something going on there, and he didn't get a whole lot of sleep or slept on a couch all week or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Ballon was poor today. There was just a lot of bad play.
It's a general malaise.
No, totally. But you know what? They're playing a lot of games. I just assume the same thing with Bellerin. He's boning too many Bollywood superstars, and he needs to focus a little bit more on
Bollywood.
Didn't you see that article?
No.
He went out with some Bollywood superstar. She's super hot. Good for him. But I'm just saying, Bellerin, take it easy. You're young, but you're not that young.
You're fast, but you're not going to be that fast.
Right. But hey.
Let's hope that was our hiccup game.
Not to be a dead cow, Mike, but we've but we got the win when we typically would not have.
Yep. If that was our hiccup, then can't wait for the next 6 weeks. If it was not our hiccup and there's more to come of that, then maybe it's time to start getting worried. But I'm not going to start searching for the negative in this game today, especially since we got all 3 points. I mean, it was not a virtuoso performance, but they're not always going to be.
No. So after today's match, it's 5 wins on the trot, which is excellent. We're third in the table with 7 points at 7 games played, 16 points. Scum are right above us, 7 games played, 17 points. And then because of their bullshit win today, which how lucky can a team get, that pulls us within 2 points of City, who are sitting on 18. So all around it.
Getting tight.
It's getting tight, but we're seeing United drop more points. And Chelsea celebrated against Hull like they just won the fucking Champions League.
I read something about Man United. I mean, they have less points at this stage of the year than they did last year under Van Gaal.
Yeah, Mike, you sounded like you were a robot.
And that's just
getting
beautiful.
Re-oiled there. Say that again.
Yeah, United is lower on points right now than they were at this time last year.
Good.
And
good.
I just think that's a beautiful thing. Mourinho is the savior, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He is just the one and only, and whatever. The guy's an asshat. One punch knockout, bitch.
Yeah.
But we're starting to see some clarity now in this league, and Liverpool are tied on 16 points with us. We're ahead on goal difference. I still don't think they're going to be a title contender. They could easily have fallen to a draw if. Who did they play this weekend?
Liverpool?
Yeah.
Shit. Who did Liverpool play this weekend?
They played Swansea, and Swansea missed an absolute sitter towards the end of the match. Terrible defense, and I just thought to myself, that is why Liverpool will not challenge for the title.
Yeah, I mean they're too inconsistent. I mean they're feast or famine. It almost seems with those guys, and I mean they're going to be probably along with us the most fun to watch when they're on, but when they're not, you're just going to wonder what the heck is going on with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So league table's starting to show some signs of who's going to be there, who isn't. Everton are for some reason still poking their head around in the top 5. That'll drop, and West Ham is just, it still looks absolute garbage.
And what is the fandom of the person whose house you're in right now?
I'm in a West Ham supporter's house right now. A very, very good friend of mine has been married, my wife and I. Unfortunately, he is a hammer. It was hilarious watching the game with him yesterday. I just sat back on the couch while he paced around the living room screaming at Antonio for being absolute shit. Begging that, Andy Carroll and his man bun would return.
He'll return before the Arsenal game and only before the Arsenal game. That's
right.
When he comes back.
Right. Yeah. So, no, I mean, we're starting to see now the league take shape. There's a great, between 9th and 15th, there's a 2-point difference.
Yeah, it's getting sticky in the mid-table.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams.
But between 7th and 1st, there's a 5-point difference. And so I think it's going to be another close one. And the only team to still have a goose egg in the loss column is Tottenham.
Yeah, well, they did the same thing last season, if I remember correctly. They tied a bunch of games, but they hadn't lost. Well, they lost the first game of the year and then didn't lose again probably until December in a game where I was over in London. I think they lost to Newcastle. So yeah, they tend to do that, but and they looked pretty all right, but they're going to fall off. They're going to fall off on November 6th because someone's going to be in the house for that.
Yeah, bare-chested.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bare-chested and
just covered in glitter.
Yep. And I'll be backing up to the referee and everything.
So, with it being Arsenal's 20th anniversary, Mike, it would be remiss of us if we did not play a game for Mr. Arson, and so
yes,
I'm going to hand this over to you. You know what? I did get feedback on your Arson voice.
Uh-oh. Well, before you give the feedback, I just want to let you know that Wenger magazine has officially voted me into their list, which is the top 250,000 Arson impressionists.
Oh.
I finally broke into the list.
Hey, I know that's been something that you've wanted for a long time, and congratulations.
I put that on my goals list at the beginning of the year, and I finally achieved it. So next year, top 200,000.
Well, the feedback came from.
That's just in Virginia, by the way.
Oh. But the feedback came from my good friend Eric, who is in Chicago, and he and I listen quite often to the Tuesday Club whenever those guys can get together on pod. And Alan Davies does an unbelievable Giroud impersonation, and he just said, you have a lot of work to do before you get to that level.
Well, this is what our 8th pod, so maybe about 250 more pods, and I'll be not at that level still.
No, and
so in
case
anyone was wondering, the joke is that I know I do a horrible Arson impression.
No, you do. I think it's wonderful. I even think it's even greater that you just from nowhere pulled a 12-pack or 24-pack of beer out again.
Well, this is part and parcel of the Arson game. So,
I feel like you're in your office, aren't you?
Shh. We don't have to discuss that.
We're gonna have to cut that out. That's gonna.
You're peeling back the curtain a little too much right now.
Sometimes people need to see behind the curtain.
Yeah. Well,
let's get this.
Not when I'm back there. Okay. As everybody knows, it's Arson's 20th anniversary, and the Arson game provides us with a list of 3 comments that Arson either did or did not make. And in this game, we will be talking about comments that he may or may not have made over the last 20 years. So if you were tuning in and cheating by listening to all the press conferences this week, you will not have been helped. So, you ready?
Got it.
All right, number 1.
Have I ever gotten one of these right?
Not so far. You have not, which
Today's the day.
might be the only thing more embarrassing than my Arsene Wenger impression is you not being able to tell which one is real.
Today is the day.
Number one, I must say in some season when we just finished third or fourth, I felt that I have done a very good job. There was not more in the team as good as when you won the championship. Okay. Number one. You got it? Is it sinking in?
Yep.
Is it washing all over you?
You're
letting it wash up?
in it.
Okay, good. Number two. He is out of there, disconnected with reality and disrespectful. When you give success to stupid people, it makes them more stupid sometimes and not more intelligent. Okay?
Okay.
Get that one? You digesting that one?
Yep.
Okay. Last one. People think I do not hurt when we lose. Nothing hurts me more than walking off the pitch and we did not give our best. Nothing. That's number three.
He just sounded drunk in that one.
Well, why do you think that might be?
Then I'm going number three.
Going number three. Well, you've broken your duck. That is the fake quote. People think I do not hurt when we lose. Nothing hurts me more than working off the pitch and we did not give our best. Nothing. Now, nothing is actually a Mourinho phrase, which I stole to put into the Wenger game. I think there was a point last season with Chelsea where he was getting fined every week for his post-game comments. And so my favorite interview of his after one of the games, he was like, I say nothing. I have nothing to say. Nothing. So I had to jam that in there, and that probably gave it away. So congratulations, you're off the schneid. You broke your duck.
Thank God. I know multiple listeners have been losing sleep over me not ever getting that game.
Well, they can.
So they can rest easy tomorrow night when they get the podcast.
Absolutely. Although by the time they hear this, it will already be that night that they got the podcast.
That's why I said tomorrow night, because we assume that they're going to listen first thing in the morning. And then the night that they go to sleep.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying, Mike?
I do.
You took your yarmulke off, and now you're not as smart. You should put that back on.
All the intelligence came flying out of my head. I don't actually have a closed skull. The yarmulke is keeping it all together, and it just all came out. Anyway, so very good. You're 1 and 2.
So tell me about picks. Tell me how we're doing on the picks.
Oh, you really want to talk about this, don't you?
I do.
You're going to make me talk about this.
Yeah.
Well, you had yourself a week. You got 2 games right on the head.
Yeah.
You wussed out and took a couple of 1-1 ties and hit them on Palace, Everton, and Stoke United. So 5 points for Andy for the week.
Yep.
Joey and I are just woeful. And, we're also bad at picking games. So both of us had a big fat 0 until Koscielny's elbow of God today. And barely nicked 1 because of the Arsenal win. So after match day 7, we got you at 15.
Yes.
We have the guest spot, the rotating spot guest is at 10 points, and I'm pulling up the relegation spot with 9.
So
that will change. And
I'm heading into the break. International break, just sitting pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I maybe I should stop making stupid jokes on Twitter and start actually watching some of these games, so I'll be able to figure out who's going to win from now on.
Joey did a good job of picking for that guest group, and if we can get people to send in their picks with as much ambition and love as Joey put into those picks, then we'll be a better podcast.
And I did promise to read off the podcast or the picks of the top Twitter follower, and we do have a 4-point episode. He didn't beat you, but Abhishek Kotnis, who I actually had the honor of watching the Basel game with on Wednesday here in Virginia, he sent in his picks. he got one on the nose, the Borough West Ham game, and two others. So he ended up with 4, which is a hell of a lot more than Joey and I did. So
he essentially
congratulations.
in 1 week almost halved your picks, and you've been doing this now for 6 weeks.
Yes, well, I never claimed to be an expert on other teams, just the Arsenal. So
Truth.
And
not
I think
really
we can,
an expert.
We can all agree that I'm not that either.
So we now roll into the international break. For me, I hope that we get through this international break with little to no injuries. I hope that certain players get some rest. And, just mostly we come back with no injury.
Yeah, I mean, there's always momentum going one way or the other right before you go into the break. It always seems like it either hits us at a bad time because we are on a roll, and now all of a sudden half the players are leaving, half of them are staying, and everybody gets disjointed. This time, I think it's probably a real good time for the break. I mean, we've been just putting out blinders every game for the last 5 or 6 games before today. Except today was a little bit of a step back. So I think some of the guys who aren't on their international teams could use a break. Some of the guys who are could certainly use a break, and hopefully they won't play 180 minutes over the next week or two. But I think it's probably good to get away for a little while, come back focused, and the starting with Swansea on the 15th, the schedule looks pretty favorable over the next 3 or 4 weeks. So if we all come back with a clear and fresh mind, we might be able to really string together another bunch of wins.
Absolutely. So with no matches next week, we are going to still pod, but we're going to do kind of a fun recap of the season to date. We're going to talk about the summer tour a little bit. So a lot of fans overseas that listen to this know that Arsenal came over. Mike and I actually had the pleasure of being in San Jose and LA and actually getting to go to some really cool events. And so we're going to recap those. I think we're going to try and get some guests on so we can increase the banter a little bit. And then there's some future trips that are coming up that Arsenal America are going to be holding. And then Mike's got a ridiculously cool story that he has gifted to his son, which we'll cover. And, so Mike, anything else for the pod, or should we peace out for the night?
It's a light week, so we'll make it a light pod, but, we're heading in the right direction still.
Absolutely.
Today was no big deal.
Absolutely. Well, hey, 3 points.
And thank you for all of our new Twitter followers. We picked up a lot of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've gotten some really cool endorsements from folks overseas who've listened to the pod and really liked it, and so we appreciate them coming on board and seeing the Arsenal from a U.S. perspective. And we hope to get more listeners and more interaction as well going forward. Excellent. Well, Mike, I guess we will take it from here, and we'll talk to you soon. Come on, you Gooners.
Join in the banter through our social media outlets. You can like us on Facebook at Gooners in USA. Follow us on Twitter at Gooners in USA. Send us an email at gooners@goonersinusa.com. Check out our website, which is www.goonersinusa.com. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, and please send us questions, comments, suggestions, or anything you'd like addressed on the pod. Come on, you Gooners.